For those people that are viewing us or listening to us, this is the Mtandao Varsity School of Soft Skills. My name is Kevin Anyango, the founder of the platform. The platform talks about those characteristics that employers are looking for. But today it's a bit different. I'm going to talk to Sammy Githaiga, based in Nairobi, and he'll tell us why he's here. Sammy, first of all, well, thanks for being here. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. It's also an honor to be here.
I'm going to say you're very easy to deal with. I mean, obviously we share a friend, and I asked you for introduction, and here you are. It didn't take that much, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
And some people are saying that you are the TikTok president in Kenya. Is that true?
No. Why would I am a TikToker. I'm one of the TikTokers. I'm not a TikTok president, of course.
No. Carry on.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I mean, you can't use any gauge to say that, because I'm not the person who has many followers. I'm not the person who has many likes. I'm not the person who has, there is nothing that is so different that would make me a TikTok president. So whoever
Sammy,
said,
come on, you've got like 300K followers. Well, 290 the last time I checked. That is something.
Yeah, I'm not saying it is not something. It is something. It has been a journey. 290 of a period of around 2.5 years. So definitely it's an accumulation of fans. And I just say that the number is okay, and I'm happy. I'm proud. It's hard work. But again, I wouldn't say that I'm the best.
But you're very engaging, and we just go straight to the point. You use your social media to talk about HIV and AIDS, and also you talk about discrimination, especially from LGBTQ community. So why does it matter actually for you, Sammy?
So one is I'm an activist, and as an activist means that I speak out, especially on things that are wrong in the society, or things that I feel that are discriminative. Generally, I speak about that. Then secondly, you asked specifically about HIV and and being LGBTQ. That is what I am. That is my family. So, and it happens to be that I'm part of this community that at this time when I am an activist, we going through injustices, So I wouldn't, even if it's not injustices, I would say that we're going through a situation that requires activist voices to speak out. And that is how now I end up speaking about HIV, because I'm a person living with HIV, and I ended up speaking a lot about human rights and LGBTQ rights, simply because I'm part of the LGBTQ community. So basically it's speaking against oppression to my people and my community. Yeah.
But why? Listen, I'm going to be a devil advocate here. So why does it matter for me to know your sexual preference?
It doesn't matter, and you don't actually have to know my sexual preference. But now the difference comes in where if this sexual preference is accumulating, or it's making some characters or some because of this and that, so you cannot get this and that. That is basically very allowed. I would use a very good example. In Kenya here, the Minister of Education, some 2-3 months, said that actually gay students should not be allowed in boarding schools. You see, it is very basic. Yeah, it is very basic that every Kenyan child has a right to education. It is very basic that any child will go to a boarding school, to a national school based on their merit, based on their everything. There are factors that are used. But now when it comes, and then there is drawing the line that you might be bright, you might have qualified to be in a boarding school, you might have wanted to go in a boarding school. Maybe at home you cannot have the facility of going in a day, learning on a day scholar or something like that. And maybe this student, there is always this benefit of wanting to go to a boarding school. There is a big difference of me wanting to go to a school outside here and going to Alliance High School, the national school, the boarding school. So if this person will be denied that opportunity of going to that boarding school simply because they're gay, then that is where it matters. You see, being gay doesn't matter. But when you start saying, or when I cannot go and test for HIV with my partner in a public facility and be treated like any other couple or any other partnership, you see, now I'm being denied the right to health simply because I'm gay. You see, I'm being denied the right to education simply because you're gay. Things like that.
Wow, that's very, you're very eloquent, I've got to say. Right, yes, again, for those that have just joined us, my name is Kevin Anyango, the founder of Mtandao Varsity School of Soft Skills. The platform talks about those behaviors or characteristics that employers are looking for, or opening opportunities. Today, I'm speaking to Sammy Githaiga, a human rights activist based in Nairobi, Kenya. Sammy, I totally agree with you when you say that if sexual preferences are being used against the person, that is wrong. So where do we start the change? Where do we start this conversation from then? Is it at school, at the community level, at the family? And when I say conversation, I'm talking about gayism and HIV/AIDS.
Yeah, what we do actually as an activist, it's having that conversation. You see, unless we speak out, unless people start talking, or unless I speak about HIV, there is no way that stigma would end. It's a must we start speaking about this and bringing this conversation to the public. When you're speaking about maybe the policy guiding or the policy discriminating against gay children, you must start speaking about them, and you must speak about them boldly. And in the country currently, and in the context of the African content, it is not a very easy thing to speak about HIV, leave alone LGBTQ. It's not an easy thing. So that is why we come out boldly and speak about these things. How do we speak about them? We use our channels. For instance, I use my social media. I use my social media to pass a message that there is need for a change somewhere. I may not be in a position to sit with a cabinet minister, but I get to use that opportunity that I have to reach as many people as I can, to advocate, or to spread the word, that I want spread out there. Sometimes you find that there are no ARVs outside here. Sometimes we had an issue there was a shortage somewhere, and we had to go to the streets, and only those who are out, because again, you will not go to the streets wearing t-shirts written "bring my ARVs" in such a country into the current level of stigma. So those of us who are out were the ones who went to the streets, and even our friends and our allies and the community at large, eventually went to the streets and fought for it. That is how we're starting this conversation. It is only through that tomorrow somebody wanting to mess with the medical supply will know that if I mess with ARVs, these people are gonna come here, and they will come with their bottles, and they will come screaming. Last time they were 200, we don't know how next time that is that conversation. It is starting. But I would say the conversation starts from wherever you are. Whatever space, whatever opportunity you have to speak about it, speak about it. Because sometimes, for instance, those the human rights activists and other civil, other defenders, other human rights defenders, I saw them come out and even condemn the minister of education, simply because of the utterances that he put, the homophobic utterances he put against students in school, gay students, that is, purportedly. So I'm like, wherever the space you have, if you have the chance to speak to the minister, you start that conversation there. I have the chance of speaking it to TikTokers. I have the chance of speaking it to my fans in Facebook, or maybe in YouTube, or maybe I can do a video. Whatever I have, that is what I use, so long as the message has reached the target.
Oh, wow, interesting. When you go to a testing center, how friendly is it to LGBTQ?
like I said, you see, in the current setup, and especially down here in Africa, we find that it is not easy to just even, to work in a VCT center as a gay person and be known to be gay and get the services. You may get the services, yes, but those services will be, there will be a lot of stigma that comes with it, and it explains actually why the gay people are key population in Kenya. It explains why the HIV prevalence in gay people is 5 times higher in Kenya than that one, or the prevalence of a heterosexual man. Simply because now, for instance, when you are a heterosexual and you go with your partner, let's say you're a man, you go with your woman, you can easily be accepted and go and test, and test together and access each other's results. But you see, with the policies today, that results are very, every person's results are private unless they open it up to someone else. Now you see, when you come to men, you see the doctor or the clinician is used to open up such information to a couple because of obvious reasons, they're sex partners. But if I work with my sex partner there, for the same reasons, I want to protect myself, I want to make sure I'm safe, and I want to know that, I'm open to my partner, and I want my partner to know my status, I want to know their status. But I will not get that service, because now this partnership is not even recognized in law. So even this clinician would even if they told you to go, because they cannot disclose somebody else's status to another third party or to somebody else who they are not their partners and without their consent. And it is funny, I mean, the same way I cannot take my brother to go and get tested with him, that is the same way I cannot take my other male partner to go and test with them. So you find that not only that, you get, okay, you asked about the HTC, the testing center, but at least I would like to touch on the health part, maybe in case I forget, or in case you will forget yourself. You find that there are diseases or there are ailments that are very specific to gay people, or more specific to gay people. Talk about something like anal warts. You find that anal warts is very common to women, but again, to a man who has, who is having anal sex, then there is a probability of also getting an STI like anal warts, you get? And you find that now for someone like me, yeah, we have the universal health coverage, yes. We have the NHIF for everybody, yes. But will I walk in a public facility to go and say I have anal warts? The first question they will ask is, how? Where did you get it from? You cannot explain to a doctor, and you'll start explaining to a doctor how you got an STI in your ass. Probably they would start thinking, they would probably start thinking you're sodomite or something like that. They will never think that, you are having some sex. And in case the kind of, even the talk, because I have friends and we have experienced the kind of talk that the facility or the medical practitioner talks to you, especially once you go with such kind of an STI, it is not easy. Sometime we have issues, we have chronic ones, especially the warts, and it actually affects a lot of gay people. This is because it is embarrassing even to go in a public facility and explain. And secondly, it is not treated in many places. It is treated mostly in public facility. And because it is embarrassing on a man, most people tend to stay with them for a longer time, thinking that maybe it will disappear, or fearing the doctor. And you find that after some time, after the warts continue to grow, it gets to a place where it has to be done surgery. It has to be removed, maybe via a surgical method or via something else. Or it gets to a place where you're really forced to go to the clinic because now it is maybe pus or something like that. We once took somebody, and I want to give you a very good example. We took somebody to a surgery. It was not actually a surgery. We didn't know it was a surgery that was required. So we took someone to a medical facility. It is some years back. I don't want to mention the name of the facility, but this guy was taken in, and immediately he was taken in, the doctor there was a madam, yeah? And this madam told him, okay, he has this and this. Of course, you go, you explain, because they're fearing. So we tell him, Daktari, allow me to enter with him. Yes, my friend is suffering from this and this and this and this. He's fearing to come. He's fearing to tell the doctor. And then the doctor, how they wear specs here. These doctors, Yes, and then they tell you, okay, Kijana, step out. Let me remain with the patient. And when the patient remains, they have to be. Sometimes they are taking that examination, and this person is told, okay, lie on a whatever on a table. And once that doctor looks at this, and it's anal what's on a man, and this thing is rare. Do you know what that woman did? She went out. She came in with three other girls, one girl and two guys. These were, we came to later learn that they were medical students, and they were coming to see what anal warts are. It was like an example. It was like a reality. Now they're coming to be, and you can imagine this person has stayed with this thing for more than 2 years because they are fearing to go to a hospital and even explain where it came from. And somebody has come in and even explained to you as a doctor that we have an emergency here, we have a situation here, and this situation you can help, and please, we just want medical help. And this person, and even making the doctor know that this patient is not comfortable speaking about this. And then you just bringing him 3 students to come and see, or to come and you get. That is the kind of stigma that is in public facility especially, and that is what keeps gay people from shy from even going to a public facility to get medical help. Now you see, the sexuality is not an issue, but when it is, there is a factor that is making you not access health, then it is an issue that should be spoken out.
That's interesting. And Githaiga, I'm going to quote the current president of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta. There was a time he was asked about the rights of LGBTQ in Kenya. And he said that is not a problem at all for them. They've got other priorities. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it is okay because it is him who said, and he said on his behalf as a president. I don't necessarily believe that it is actually not a priority on my own. And I also think that he was speaking on a presidential base. He was the president, or he is the president, 20 days to go. And Mr. President was speaking the priorities of the country, Kenya, and probably that time as a president, of course, he can see more. So we maybe know that maybe somewhere they are suffering hunger, somewhere that, and that is why he said that. Nevertheless, I would also want to echo and say that nobody would want it to be an issue. LGBTQ should never be an issue. It should never be an issue if my rights are respected. It should
which
never
they are
be.
not.
Sorry?
Which they are not. You just spoke about health, right? As an example. And
yeah, which they are not. It's an
right.
issue. I say that it should never have been an issue if things were done right. If me and my partner are led to be, if we are accessing medical health, not in a special way, just like any other person does it outside. If you're letting a gay son go to a school, just like any other son does go to school. And I was saying, like, for instance, somebody told me, like, no, a gay student should not be in school. I'm asking, even heterosexual students go in boarding schools and they do not engage in sexual, sex practices with other girls in other schools. And even in a day school, we have day schools that are mixed and people don't go having sex in school. We are not saying that gay students should have sex in school. Nobody should. And that's why I'm saying there should not be special treatment. And we are not asking for any special treatment. A school is a school. It should be respected. It's a place of learning. The same way you're letting this heterosexual student come and learn, let this one who is different also come and learn, because you may not explain why they're different. And it is actually good because they actually confessed by saying that students who are gay, that means there are students who are under 18 and they are gay. And so it is never something that it is an influence or something. It is something that I cannot explain. Just like we have left-handed people,
Yes.
Left-handed people, they cannot explain why they are left-handed. They are the minority, but just because they are the minority and they are different, it doesn't mean that they are criminal. It doesn't mean that they are a crime. Being different is not a crime. Everybody is special in their own way. And you wanting to criminalize others just because you wanting them to go through issues and problems just because they're gay, then that one is an issue. Definitely it is an issue. Human rights are at stake, the privacy, everything. It is an issue, but it should never been an issue if only we did things right and things equal, actually equality and equity.
Right. Well, I like that. And I'm sure all over the world, you know, human rights, or let's say gay rights, are quite oppressed in many parts of the world, really. But things are changing now. Put into context in Kenya, okay, where I would say majority of Kenyans look at gay people differently. Actually, they think it's evil. What is the motivation for you to come out and talk about this, even though you know that majority will look at you differently, they will have an opinion on you, and they may even shy away from engaging you or engaging people like you?
I think one, there's something very, very, very important. I said that this is my family and these are my people. That is one. This is where I get my identity. My identity is an LGBTQ people. I identify with people living with HIV because I live with HIV, and my people actually burdened by this disease. So there is a very close relation. So I personally identify with LGBTQ people. That is the first thing and the first motivation. Secondly, I would say that whatever is making me, or whatever makes me speak out and talk, and actually not feel shy of maybe somebody would look at me differently. Yes, they do look at me differently. They view me differently. But sometimes you are pushed to the end. Yeah, you push to the end. There was a time I was not out. There was a time I was in the closet. There was a time nobody knew about my status. There was a time I was taking my ARVs in peace and silence. Until that time you're pushed. Until that time you see other gay people dying because they don't know about sexual health and they don't know about HIV. Now you'll start speaking. I actually started my HIV activism started with my community. I spoke about HIV to gay people. It's only that the audience became bigger with time and people became more interested to listen. And that is why I don't shy away from speaking about being gay and being positive, even if currently the majority of my followers are not necessarily gay people. But I don't away from speaking about that because I started speaking, and my message is always and mostly directed to my people because they are the ones who suffer most, and they are the ones who identify with, and they're the ones I see them suffer. If you ask me about HIV today in women, if you ask me about how women living with HIV, the process of breastfeeding and things like that, I don't know. Simply because my target from the word go has always been young gay people, but now the audience become bigger. And I wanted just to tell you, as a gay person living with HIV, coming out is difficult.
Yes.
Being gay and coming out is difficult, but coming out when you're positive, it is actually more difficult. This is a young boy who was expelled in like 7 schools. I went to 7 schools, 6 schools expelled for being gay and being different, speaking out my mind. This is a boy who became a sex worker at 17, got HIV at 17, did not even take his medication. I was at the street. This is a boy who has been, I don't know where. I think I was pushed to the end until you have no more energy. You can no longer sustain the push. You can no longer sustain the pressure. Now you have to come out and actually face the world. And it is actually better for me because I am now more courageous. I can now speak. And when I remember where I came from, or when I remember how bad we were pressed. When I go to a center, a health facility where we go, the LGBTQ friendly facility, and I see at the wall how many gay people we used to scribble their names when they pass, and then we write RIP so and so, rest in peace so and so. When I go and I look at that dark room and I look at that dark wall there, anytime I look at it, I feel like, oh, you know what, boy? You go speak about HIV. You go speak about this because it once washed your people. It once finished your people. It took my friends away. Anytime I remember them, I keep on pushing. Actually, me, there is nothing that makes me nothing stops me. Nothing. Looking down on me or doing something, coming out is the best thing, and activism is the best thing. And I would even say I'm positive anywhere, and I would tell you to stop stigma anywhere, because that is a motivation to me. Because you don't know what stigma cost me. You don't know what stigma cost my people. You don't know what your disrespect to human rights causes, my people. When I go and I see young gay people with anal warts that are so big, and this is something that can be treated free of charge, something that can be treated easily. It is very easily manageable, but you making somebody suffer. It is okay. People get STIs, even heterosexual get STIs, but this person has a right to health, and that is why everybody has a right to health, because they can get STIs, and STIs are part of the diseases. But you should not tell me that this stigma of yours towards my people is making one of my friends stay with that illness for all that time, that embarrassment for all that time. It can even get to cancer, so it can even get to be very fatal. And then you want me not to speak out? I will speak it out so much, and I will not shy. You looking down on me or you looking me differently is something very small compared to what I want to achieve. It is something very little compared to that person coming and getting the medication. I will come to that clinic, you will look at me, you will actually judge me, you will insult me, but you know what? That boy has to be treated, and that is what matters.
Wow, Sammy Githaiga, I admire you, I admire your courage. And when you talk about being discriminated upon, I know the feeling. You know, I experience racial discrimination almost every day. You know, people who are black like me, even at workplaces, you've got to work extra hard for you to even to get that promotion that you need, that you deserve. So I totally agree with you. Let me just go back. I don't want us to rely mostly on being gay, because the other things I've discussed with you. But if we go back, so at 17 is when you notice or realize that you are HIV positive, correct?
Yes.
And also at the same time, also you came out as gay at 17?
At 17, I was at the street. You know, that time I was actually, we were selling sex. I was gay. So I did not come out that time. I had not come out. I had never, coming out means coming out in public, or coming
Correct.
out coming out where, because if it is coming out, then I did not come out. Somebody brought me out, or I was brought out. I mean, if I've been expelled in 2, 3, 4, 5 schools for being, and the letter is reading gay, or I don't know, different, being different, or not aligning via the Christianity based, I don't know what of the school, things like that, then definitely I was out. So when I left school, so I started doing sex work here and there. That time there was no condom, there's nothing, and you don't know knowledge about condom. And even if you had condoms, you not want to be with them, because wherever you're sleeping, many of you, and you're sleeping in a, you know, it's a group, it's you're all homeless, and you're sleeping together, and you're a mixture of boys or a mixture of groups of people, and you just can't go sleeping out with condoms in the pocket or having packaged condoms. People will start calling you sex worker. And that time you're a small boy, and that time I was not out. No, I'm positive. 17, around 17, 18 there. I stayed for some few years without taking my medication, because you are a doctor, you've told me I'm positive, you've started giving me my ARVs, you're telling me to carry that bottle, and where am I going to put it? I don't have a place to stay. I'm a sex worker who is even getting 100 shillings a day, that is $1. Getting $1 a day to feed, to even eat, is a problem. Even sniff glue and even smoke something, you know, it is a problem. So 100 bob, you probably end up eating 10 shillings, and that 100 bob, you get it once or twice in a fortnight. You are surviving with 10 shillings, 20 shillings in a day. Now you're telling me to take ARVs. ARVs want me to eat. Where will I get this food to take these ARVs? And you know, my schedule is unknown. I was lecturing, it's like a migrant, a pastoralist. Now are you telling me again, you're introducing a new schedule for me, introducing a new friend called ARVs, and you want me to take them every day and to take them consistently, and they have a lot of rules and regulations surrounding it. I'm 17, I don't know anything. I don't even know, you know. So I did not take the medication for some time. I got a little bit sick, and I not necessarily sick. I wouldn't say that I got sick because of not taking ARVs. I never confirmed that. But now after that, I got so much into drugs, and so much I gave up in life. I really gave up. I started now taking, if it was taking sniffing glue, you're sniffing it big time. If it is smoking, you know, smoking weed or something, I'm doing it big time. I'm taking every 10 bob I use is for glue, every 10 bob is for this. If it is alcohol, I used to drink myself out. I stopped taking care of myself. You see, I was homeless, but at least you could groom a little bit, you could, shave at least something. But that time I stopped taking care of it, and I just looked. Now I was a street boy. Now I became something else, because life, there is no life, there's no meaning of life if you cannot be let to be who you are in the society, and if you have to be if you have to now to you are positive, there is no life. I gave up until somebody picked me up. Somebody who we were doing sex work around a year ago, a year ago with at the street. Now I'm around 18, 19 there, and somebody we were doing sex work with comes in our joint, the hotspot where we used to get clients, because I just used to live around, not living around, I was hanging around that place simply because I cannot even enter inside there, because now I've become, I'm so dirty even to for the club owners to let me in that club. So anytime I look at people I know, I stay outside the club. I look at people I know, and I see you get out, I come, hey, help me with 10 bob, help me with this. So somebody saw me, and somebody asked me, what's wrong? I told him, I'm sick, I'm a little bit sick. That time it was lucky because they found me sick. I told him I'm sick. He told me, can I take you to hospital, somewhere where you can be taken care of in a good way? I told him, okay, let me go take medication. Of course, I did not go that day because there was that whole set of counseling, and they wanted me to actually join them. I could not. But because I was sick, I was forced, and I was like, okay, tomorrow come pick me. I will go take medication at that clinic. And that is how I went. I went very dirty. People were looking at me. That place I went, spoke with the doctor. And one thing the doctor told me, or normally in the triage in a clinic, in a community clinic, you take a test. After taking a test, you go to the clinician, you take, BP, you do that process. And this doctor, I told him, I don't want to take a test. Why? You're reminding me that I'm positive, and I forgot that I'm positive, and I don't want to be reminded that. This doctor saw there's something wrong with me. Sam, sit down. I'm sat down there. I'm around 19 years. I look very dirty, but they could tell I'm somebody who had a little bit brains because I could speak some English, Yeah, I could speak some English. I was in a school, so they were like, what is wrong? How can we help? I told them now the story and the entire thing. This doctor told me, now this is a clinic, it is not a home center, it is not a rescue center. But because now we cannot help you with a place to stay or food or things like that. But I will want to tell you something. Even if you eat or you don't eat, HIV will take you down, my son. If you cry or don't cry, HIV will take you down. There is nothing that is taking that thing outside your body now. You have to take ARVs regardless of the situation, regardless of everything, regardless of the current, And they told me, I will help you a little. Whatever I asked, how do you want to help me? They told me, we open here at 8 a.m. So once we open at 8 a.m., you'll be storing your drugs here. You'll not go with them because you don't have a place to stay with them. But because the clinic is open every day and you don't work very far away from here, every day in the morning, you will be coming to the clinic. You come at 8 a.m. My first timing of taking my medication was 9. You come at 8. That time, the staff there were making tea and one slice of bread. They were giving the peer educators and stuff there. So anytime I come in the morning, the clinician would give me a loaf of bread and some tea. Tells me, take it here so that you don't go there and they say I'm giving clients food. And then I take it there, then tells me, swallow your pill. I swallow my pill. And then for me to come tomorrow but one, there was that bread, and I was also allowed to use the lounge to sleep. When I come during the day, I come in the morning because I've been working all night, and we have been sleeping outside. Now they have given me a chance to be sleeping there during the day, just when the clinic is operational. At 5 p.m. when they are closing, I get out, I go do my sex work. Tomorrow I come in the morning. That's how I started taking my medication, and I started doing it daily, and health started coming back. This guy again told me, you're young, and this doctor, he became now my friend. You're a young boy, and outside there are young boys like you who are having sex and they are not using condoms, who are positive and they don't know where to go or what is wrong, who don't even know whether they're positive. So I asked him, okay, yes, they are there. What do you want me to do? Or how do I help you? He told me, can I reach them through you? Oh, how? I'll be giving you condoms, be supplying to them. What about that? I said, yeah, Because if I didn't have condoms, if I had condoms, probably I would not be this way. So I started supplying to them condoms that time. And then the doctor again tells me after like 2 months, 2, 3, 4 months, you know, I would want to test your friends. I'm like, doctor, they cannot come here. I will come there. We will do an outreach there. Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. Then that way I'm told, okay, so because you've told us it is possible and you've shown it is possible, you will become a peer educator to help us reach them, because this is an LGBTQ friendly clinic and we need peer educators to reach and to do outreaches. I started doing that. I started becoming now a sex worker who is a peer educator to other sex worker. I started teaching them what I'm taught at the clinic. That is how I started working. Started working for around for 4,000, 3,500, 4,000. And from there, activism came later on, coming out came later on. But yes, that is where that journey ended. That is how I started working, and really 3 years down the line, 4 years down the line, 5, I'm here 6 years.
Oh, Sammy, I take my hat off for you, man. I mean, it's unbelievable. Honestly, look, I've done over 60 podcasts, okay? But none has really touched me like this. And I had actually prepared some questions. I'll just show you. So I have some questions here, and I think I just threw that away and just have a chat, because I think it's very important people to understand, especially in African context, to understand that being gay is not evil, And I've got friends who are gay, who are in England, but not in Kenya. So could you just confirm to us this? You don't choose to be gay. You are born like that.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yes, sure.
Because there's a vibe that some people looking at it as a style, like, if I'm gay, if I, sell myself to whoever, I will get money, but I'm not gay. Some people so take it it's like a lifestyle. But you're telling me you are born gay and that's the way things are.
Yes, I'm born gay. And actually, the difference here, get this one, gay people are born gay. A man having sex with another man just because of other reasons, that doesn't make them gay. You can be a man sleeping with a man because you want money. You have a wife in the house, you have kids, you're sleeping with another man for money. You're not gay. You're sleeping with another man selling sex. You're not gay. You want a favor. You want a promotion. You want some grades from your lecturer and things like that. You're simply an MSM, a man who has sex with men. And yes, because you're having anal sex. But gay people are people who are, I am romantically attracted to another man. In high school, I never had sex in high school. And I was in high school Form 1, Form 2, Form 3. I was not having sex, but I was gay still, because I love men. I had a boyfriend in high school. I had a boyfriend when I was in class 8 and class 7. I had a boyfriend just like any other adolescent child. I had a boyfriend. I was gay, but I was not having sex. I had never had sex until around Form 4, So men can have sex with other men. They are not gay. Gay people are people who are naturally, romantically attracted, to another man. It is not something that just come, something from influence. Yes, there are people who have sex with other men because they're influenced. That one is not a gay man, because you can even get out and get married,
Wow. Goodness me. Well, let's move forward. First of all, you mentioned about adolescents, and now I think it's right for us to say that actually the number one killer right now in Africa, the kills lots of adolescent people or adolescent kids, is HIV and AIDS. So what are we doing wrong? Are we saying that people don't talk about HIV AIDS at school, at the community, or why is the number still going high?
We live in a denial state. Unfortunately, we live in a state that we deny the fact, or we want to hide. It is something that 99% of us know, but we always, I don't know how we think, because we want to ignore, or we want to say it doesn't happen. Young people have sex. People in school are having sex. We are living in a society that internet and everything is exposing people. There is nothing you need. I am a child of around 17, 18 years. If they told you, if they opened up to you and they told you probably how many times they've had sex, you'll be surprised. That's why you're having so many teenage pregnancies. It is only that there are some evidences. If there was no evidence, you'd still deny that children have sex outside here. The reason why HIV is so high is because we deny that children are having sex, so we refuse to teach. We refuse to have these conversations of self-protection. You know, you can have sex, yes. You can be in a country, or you can have a phone that can show you porn and things like that, yes. But you can have safe sex. You get? You can have safe sex. You can have protected. We have refused to give students condoms in school. They have said when you take condoms to school, you are trying to promote immorality. What immorality when in the same school we are having 10 girls who are pregnant? It means that so many of them know how to use P2, they are not getting pregnant. It means that so many men actually they are actually doing this. And the fact that they are getting pregnant means that they are having sex that is not protected. And it is only, you introduce that condom, whoever will want to use it, show it that this is a protection tool. Because once you get HIV, you'll get it forever. I may be wanting maybe to work somewhere and they don't want a HIV positive person. But because of stupid mistakes I did when I was a kid, because of maybe lack of knowledge, because somebody refused me to access a condom simply because I was a kid. Yes, I was having sex, and yes, I was a kid, and I got HIV. I have to live with those consequences still today. So it is lack of knowledge, and we live a denial. It is just a denial state, because I don't understand even how sexual reproductive health is not taught in school. These are things that students and a child should be taught when they are growing up. A mother should speak to her girl, you know, tell them that this is how you protect yourself, this is how you do, this is how you do, because tomorrow you never know if this girl is having sex and they're not even willing to tell you. Right. But you have a conversation with them. This conversation you are calling a taboo, you will save your child, you will save somebody from getting HIV. Gay students currently, I want to be very specific on gay. On LGBTQ student, for instance, you find that this student stays with a mother. These students mostly are reserved. They don't really interact with a lot of people because they don't have girlfriends. And you know how we treat, you know, as peers, how we treat, you know, how we treat boys who don't have girlfriends at age 14, 16. So you're finding that this person is having sex. In the first place, they don't even know that anal sex is risky in terms of HIV transmission. Secondly, they're not even given condoms. They cannot have this conversation even with their fathers. They can never tell their fathers they're having sex. And you finding that even in our programs, we cannot give them condoms. When we start programming for them, it is after they have reached 18 years. It is only after you are 18 years that I can pick your hand and take you to a clinic and ask you to be tested, because here in Kenya, you cannot be tested when you are under that age without the consent of the parent, because you're a child. You don't have a right to consent. So we cannot even test them unless you ask their parents' permission. And you cannot ask the parents' permission and say, I want to test your son because your son is at risk, because he's gay and blah, blah, blah. You are outing them. So you're finding that most gay students or most gay people, they come to the clinic at the age 19, age 21, and most of them have already converted. Other than me giving you PrEP and giving you condoms, I start giving you ARVs. And that is why you're finding that that age, especially 18, 19, most of them, you get HIV, 1 year down the line, you get 18, you come out here, it's already late. We can't do anything about it.
Oh, Sammy, your knowledge is unbelievable. Let's move on. So again, for those that have just joined us, this is Mtandao Varsity School of Soft Skills, and the platform talks about those behaviors or characteristics that employers are looking for. Today, we're talking about something rather different, HIV/AIDS and LGBTQ. Now, so when I speak to you, Sammy, I feel courage, I see passion, I see hope. Now, most employers want people who are courageous, you know, people who are brave like you. Are you born with courage, or can somebody learn being courageous?
Both. You can be born a courageous person, I believe, because I've seen people who are born courageous people, you know, when you're young and you're still courageous. And you can also learn to be courageous, because I also said there was a time I could not speak this way. There was a time I could not even speak to you like this. But today I can go to the streets and protest. That means it's a learning process. And, you know, I started somewhere, and it continues growing. It's something that you nurture. But I believe there are people who are also naturally courageous in a way that, you know, this kid is very young, but they're able to explain themselves in a very confident manner. They were not necessarily taught, they didn't learn, but they were born that way. I believe that. I don't.
And passion, can you train passion?
Passion, I don't know passion literally, because for me passion, passion, I may not have passion in HIV or passion in LGBTQ what, but I have passion in an activism. I was an activist from way before. The longest I can remember, I was telling teachers in school, excuse me, the law says you should not beat students, and that's when
Wow.
you can imagine. Yeah, so
Just winding up.
passion is there. Yeah.
Just winding up now, Sammy. So should employers know my sexuality? I know when we started the discussion, that was the first question I asked you. But throughout, you've talked about how people are being discriminated upon based on their sexuality. So if we know that's the case, and I'm applying for a job, do you think young people should come out immediately? Or those who can, but they should let employers know their preferences in context so that they can kind of fight that stigma from the onset?
Well, I first believe for you to be stigmatized, for someone to stigmatize you for being gay, they have already known you're gay. And I also believe that on my own context, that you coming out doesn't stop anybody from stigmatizing you. You can only come out to fight. You can only come out but it doesn't stop anybody from stigmatizing you. Anybody stigmatizing Githaiga, whether I'm out or not, if you stigmatize me and I'm not out, it means you already know I'm gay. And so even if I was out, it means you'd already know I was gay. If you want to stigmatize me, you'll stigmatize me. Employers should not. I believe they should not actually have that requirement of wanting to know your sexuality. Remember what we said about equity and equality. I've never, it is yeah, the heterosexual aren't asked to declare the sexuality, just like it is not very necessary for an employer to ask you whether you're right-handed or left-handed. It is not one of their necessity. It shouldn't actually, the sexuality. And I believe me being gay or me being straight, it is not a business of the work. It is not my jobs. It is not a conversation, a jobs conversation. It is a conversation of me, my family, in the house, in the bedroom. That's my social life outside job. And it should never at any given time even be related, because we have workers who have wives, and I've never had a conversation about their wives being brought up in a meeting, because their wives are in their home countries or wherever they are in. The same with my sexuality. If I have a partner who is maybe called John, and John is somewhere else, not in my workplace, I should never be forced to declare that I love John or that John is my boyfriend, or I should never even be asked. You should never even have the audacity of wanting to question why or how I love John, when I cannot have the audacity of asking why you got married to a certain lady and we met at work. Different conversation, different places. It's just that we always want to drag the gay people and the gay stigma and everything at work, at school, everywhere, and that is why we fight. Otherwise, it should never be that way.
Well, where do people find you? I mean, this information, obviously, they're not in public, really. They were talking about these issues. So, where can people find you? I mean, do you have like public lecture? Do you go to schools, or how can we get this information telling us? Because honestly, I've never, look, I work in HIV field myself, okay, on a different level. But I can tell you, Sammy, there's some things I'm mentioning here that I've never heard of, So my question to you is, so where do people find you?
Well, I just use social media. I use social media platforms. Sammy Githaiga, that is where you can find me. You can also find me. I also work as a case navigator at HOIMAS, Health Options for Young Men on AIDS and STIs. I'm also the coordinator of the network of key populations affected by HIV in Kenya. So that is a consortium of people, key populations affected by HIV, living with HIV. I'm their coordinator. So in these fields, we meet everywhere, in the social media, Sammy Githaiga everywhere, or you can also meet in the civil service, but not in school, not civil service, in these works, in our field, in our HIV field. But at schools, we don't. Here, we are not allowed. You're not going to take sexual reproductive health in school. So we don't hold talks. I don't do that. I'm just a navigator, and I was a peer educator. A peer educator is you educate your peers. You go through a training and you start educating your peer. So all this knowledge is just getting with time, and I educate them. That is where best I use it. I also use it in my media platforms, you know, to advocate. They come. Yeah.
And it's a pleasure having you here. I mean, I think what we discuss is quite right, and it's very, very relevant. My last question, Githaiga, to you. So you know very well that, you know, it's very difficult to be gay in Kenya. Okay, so how do you move around? So you just don't care? Is that what's guiding you? Or, I mean, because I fail to understand. As you say, you're born gay. Now you are gay, you are HIV positive. I mean, how bad can it get? But you see here talking to us about it. So what's the dream? Or what's the dream, Githaiga?
Well, things here are not as hard. But okay, things are hard, but I wouldn't say for me as a person, I would say that and other gay people, and especially activists, what we do is we tend to now we cannot stay in that equal opportunity or that equal space that any other person is staying. For instance, there are behaviors that you have to maintain. I just stepped out. I think 1 hour ago when I was picking food, I was being delivered, I picked it up. I cannot just go out and loiter everywhere. I have to make sure that mostly I'm in the house. I have to make sure that I'm very careful. I don't get very late at night. I don't cross walls with so many people. Currently in Kenya, people are not wearing masks. You know, the masks we are told off. It's not a compulsory thing to wear masks. And it is very rare to get one person wearing masks. But I'm one person who will never step outside my door without a mask. I will always have a mask around me because, you know, it is not very safe, not very secure. But you have not reduced the risks wherever you are living in, especially the gay people. You find that now you have to live like 3-4 people so that you can be able to cost share to get a bigger room or a better room or in an environment that is not so risky. And because I cannot afford maybe 10,000, 20,000 to get a 1-bedroom in a place that is maybe less risky, I have to cost share with 2-3 people. We give 5-5 or 3-3 or 4-4, and then you can live there. Not because we want to live together, not because we cannot afford maybe a 2,000 or a 3,000 room. You can do that very carefully. We want that. I want that privacy, but security comes first. And if in that 1-bedroom you're safe, then so there are things, and we tend to do some things to reduce the risks because there are so many risks, but we tend to reduce them, and that way you live.
Do you go to mainstream media? Like, do you give interviews or talk to the mainstream media about what we're discussing now?
Yes. When we had, I would talk to mainstream media, but of course on very limited issues. When you had an issue with ARVs in Kenya, I could coordinate Nekepa. I had to go to an interview to a national television for a morning show and explain exactly what it is with ARVs, why we are screaming on the streets, and how it is for sex workers. You know, I speak for sex workers. In short, I do interviews in media. So.
And you don't care, not care, but you know, you're not scared of retaliation or people giving you various names.
Every day, I get that every day. You told me I have 200 or 300,000 followers currently on TikTok. You Correct. Go to those comments and see. I get that every day. Just that I told you, coping mechanism, yes. Just making sure that you read this. It doesn't get to your heart. Sometimes I understand you, sometimes I don't. When it's, you know, coping mechanism. Even so in mainstream.
So is that how you fight bullying? Is that how you fight trolls online? You just ignore them?
I personally choose to ignore, and even advise other activists to ignore, because sometimes even if you are to respond and prove some things right, some of them are too much to explain. Some of them are too much. Yeah, you have a video, it has 1,000 comments, 600 are good comments, 400 are homophobic comments. My God, you concentrate on the 600, ignore the 400. If you start replying the 400, it means that now you are concentrating there. Actually reply the good ones and leave and it keeps on reducing. When I was joining TikTok and I had fewer followers, I had more haters than I do today.
Well, listen, I'm going to let you go now. I cannot tell you how proud I am, first of all, of knowing who you are, speaking to me on the platform, and being so open. For those that have been joining us, this is Mtandao Varsity School of Soft Skills. The platform talks about those behaviors or characteristics that employers are looking for or opens up opportunities. Today, I was speaking to Sammy Githaiga, activist based in Nairobi, Kenya. How do you call yourself, Sammy, actually? So are you a
I'm
LGBTQ activist?
Githaiga. Sorry?
Just that. So you don't have a title that people refer to you with?
I am just Samuel Githaiga. Just that I have a bigger mouth. I just have a big mouth. I'm Githaiga. I'm just Samuel Githaiga. Even in social media, you'll meet me Samuel Githaiga. Anyway, ask. I'm just Samuel Githaiga, not even Mr. Just
I think you should have a show. Honestly, I think you should have a show on TikTok where you talk about these things.
Yeah, sure.
I think you should. When are you going to start, Githaiga?
I do. Sometimes I go live. I don't have an official.
Huh? Okay, can you have? I mean, you can say no if you don't want to, but can you have like a specific day or a specific time where you talk about these things for like 30 minutes? I think it's very important. You know, I've got passion in what you do, and I think we need it. So, can you do that? Is that possible? We shall support it, Githaiga.
It is very possible. I would just say that I'm not actually thinking about it because we also want to have a show on YouTube or something like that, to put on small videos of talks and things like that. And yeah, I'm doing that. And yeah, there's nothing that shouldn't make. I am a fan of going live. So spending 30, even 1 hour a week speaking about it, no problem.
Well, listen, I'll be very happy to support that. At the Mtandao Varsity, we'll be very happy to sponsor that talk. So we've got numbers. Let's talk. Let's engage. I think it's very important what you're talking about, and we cannot see people just living out of ignorance. We've got a responsibility to educate those that may not know.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Okay, so after this, I'll come to a DM and see how possible this can be.
Sorry.
So after this discussion, after this podcast, I will come to your DM and we explore how this can be possible.
Yeah, definitely. I'll be waiting.
Marvelous. Well, listen, thank you so much for your time, and I'm glad that I've met you, Githaiga. Do have a nice evening.
Thank you, and I appreciate it. It's been such a humbling moment, and I'm sorry because of the technical hitches that preceded us, but it's okay. We made it, and yeah, keep doing.
Oh, Githaiga, I'm not sure, Daddy. Thank you so much for coming. I'll speak to you soon.
Asante sana, asante.
Safi.